I'm sitting here today. Today is a day when I'm just sitting and I'm thinking about the difference in my life between this year and last year, this year, 2 years ago, this year, and even 5 years ago. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that my life is so radically different today than it has been in the past. And all I can think to say is how grateful I am that, I followed the desires of my heart. I allowed myself to do the work that was necessary to get to a place where I just don't feel triggered by people and what they do. I don't feel triggered by the past the way that I used to. It used to be that when I would see people who I was upset with or I had issues with and I hadn't addressed them, I would always go on a tangent and it would just cause me to kind of spin out for days, weeks, and even sometimes months. And what's amazing to me now is that I get calls from people who are part of my past, and I can have some good conversations with them, and I can actually show up with them, for them, in a way that had it happened 4 years ago, I would have an attitude like, I can't believe they calling me, what they calling me for, because I still had stuff that I was being triggered by. But the commitment for me really started when I decided that I would release anything, I mean everything, that was causing me to really think about myself in a less than desirable way. Because when I think about all the things, and when I say things, when I think about the thoughts that people had towards me that they would share or they would act out towards me, and I kind of took it on like, wow, this must be who I am because that's what this person is doing. And I had to learn that what people do really is about them more so than it is about me. It has nothing to do with me, it has everything to do with them. Then what I was able to do was to actually allow myself to find out what I thought was the trigger and resolve to heal that. And in the process of healing, there are lots of emotions. And I talk a lot about emotional weight because right now it's important. I do have a workshop, I have a webinar that's coming up that talks about releasing emotional weights and in your life and in your business, because there have been experiences that I've had in business as an entrepreneur that have caused me to have negative thoughts about my clients, particularly those clients who didn't pay, or they chose not to pay, or they were extremely late, or they were just like, well, I'm just not going to do it. And I didn't really have a sufficient comeback for those types of reactions or responses. And what was really more distressing is when the people that didn't pay were people that I knew and I trusted. And that was even more devastating. But again, in the process of deciding that I was going to resolve and I was going to make sure I wasn't triggered by any of the experiences that I had anymore, I was going to heal the feelings that I had. Then the business stuff got resolved, and it changed and transformed how I even engage in business nowadays, as well as the personal stuff got resolved. And so that's how people who are in my past or have been in my past can call me today, and I'm good with them. We're all good. Hey, peace. I have no issue. I have no ought with them at all. No issue at all. And I have to say that not only has that been a maturing process, it's also been a process that came about once I decided that I had to figure out a way to deal with the anger, the disappointment, the frustration, the animosity I had when I lost my daughter. And I have to say that I don't really talk a lot about losing my daughter because it was so devastating for me, because I really wanted to have this child. And it was just like not having her, or having when she passed away, it was like, everything that I really wanted was right here and now it's gone. And so I had to figure out a way to take that experience and transform it, because it really was the situation of me hitting the proverbial wall. I hit the wall and I didn't know what to do anymore. And not only did I not know what to do, but I also felt like I didn't want to do anything. I was just done. I was done with life. I just felt like, I don't know. This is it's not worth. There's nothing else out here that I really want in my life right now. And I'm saying that to say that I know that people deal. Let me put this caveat out there. I know that people deal with suicidal thoughts. I wasn't suicidal. But I felt like I just didn't want to live. I felt like, I don't have anything to live for, really, because this was the experience that I thought would be my experience in life. I was having this child. I was so excited. I wanted to, and to not have her was like, really? Well, why else am I here? And, I had to sit down and think about what the purpose of it was for. And what I know is that sometimes those of us who have a purpose that we haven't really stepped fully into, or that we're kind of tiptoeing around, we're dancing with, we're kind of saying, oh yeah, I'll get to it. Sometimes you're going to have an experience that will force you to either put up or shut up, because you're going to hit the wall. And when you hit the wall, you have to make a decision. How do I want to bounce back from this? And you get to decide. And the thing is, only you can decide that. No one else can decide for you. And the thing is, no one else can deal with the experiences that you've had except for you. And you have to go through it so that you have your testimony, or you have the story to tell, to share, that explains how you can actually get through to the next level based on what you've been through. And that's what I had to recognize about this experience, that it was one of those things that, had it not happened, I would have been kind of coasting along even longer than I am now. Now I'm just very, very direct, very determined, very intentional about my life. And I know that what helped me with my intentionality is the decision to make an adjustment, make serious adjustments, and to release the experiences, the people, the environments, the emotions, the beliefs that just didn't support me in my life and where I wanted to go. And that's how I was able to really make a stand and move forward in a way that was very, very powerful for me, for my business, for my personal life, for my family. And it's what has gotten me where I am now, where I am today. And actually, I'm really pleased with where my life is today, because I'm able to do things today that I would not have really thought I would be able to do. And if you had asked me 8 years ago, I would have felt like, I might be able to get there, maybe, kind of, sort of, possibly. But today, I can tell you with certainty that the intentions that I have, the goals that I've set, the life that I'm interested in living, I am on track to do those things because I'm living it now. And one of the other things that I can tell you is that it has taken so much courage for me to make some of the moves that I've made. I moved from the East Coast to Texas, and I lived in Texas for 3.5 years. I have a situation where my sister was really in need, and I decided, you know what, I can come and live where you're living in the same city, and I can help you for a year, and then I'll go back to where I choose to go next, and I'll make some decisions about my life as it relates to that. But without having been intentional about my life and about the experience that I wanted my life to reflect, what I wanted to see in my life, how I chose to live my life, where I want to be in my life, what I want it to look like. And actually, I've had the experience of seeing things in my life show up exactly the way that I've envisioned them. Without doing that kind of work of releasing the things that just did not benefit me, the experiences, the people, the beliefs. And I keep talking about beliefs because beliefs are probably the most important piece of it. And releasing the beliefs meant I also had to examine those beliefs and look at where they came from. And in the process of looking at where the beliefs came from, I had to make some decisions. Is this true about me? Does this really reflect who I know myself to be? Does it reflect what I want to experience in my life? And in those places where the answer was no, I had to release it. But I had to also acknowledge that it existed in the first place. And I had to look at where it came from. And then I had to make some decisions about what I wanted to do about it. Hence, releasing the emotional weight in your life and in your business. Because without doing it, you will continue to live your life in the way that you've always lived it without being intentional about what's there. If you're not looking at what is driving your behavior and your beliefs and what you choose to do with your life, then you just keep on a path of repeating the same cycle over and over and over again, out of a sense of obligation, out of a sense of not really knowing what else is available to you, or even because you feel like if you do something different, it's going to upset the apple cart so much that, no one else can survive it. But the truth is, when you make decisions that really benefit your life, other people have to adjust. They will adjust. And when it's truly beneficial for you in your life, and it winds up, there's a ripple effect, because if it's the right thing for you to do, then it will uplift. It's like, what is it about the tide and tide, all that. I know I'm messing it up, but it has something to do with the tide lifts all boats, And so when you actually make the ripple effect, you decide to transform your life in a meaningful way, then the ripple effect is everyone who's in your circle, their life can also change too, because they see what's possible. And they see that once they know that it's possible, then they say, hey, well, I can do that too. And you'll find that other people in your life, or other people that you know, will actually begin, you're the catalyst for them even, not just for you in your life, but you become the catalyst and the decision, the rationale, the reason that other people begin to make some decisions in their lives that are different than the status quo, that are different than the way that everyone has always done it, because that's all anyone has known. I know that when I moved to Texas from the East Coast, there wound up being family members who would reach out to me like, hey, cuz, I'm moving to Texas. I'm moving to Texas too. And as a ripple effect, I have younger cousins who are like, well, I'm going to move to this part of the country. We're going to go over here and we're going to try this. And so what we see and what I've seen in my family is that this decision that I made that honored me, actually, moving to Texas was one of the best things I did for me in my life. But it also showed other people that it was possible to get out of a little pocket, to do something different than what you've always known and what you've always been comfortable with, and to believe that you could actually do this thing, regardless of what anyone has ever said to you or what anyone in your family has ever done before. It's possible to do this and have a different kind of life. And so if you're interested in really, really examining what it looks like to release the weights, the emotional weights that are in your life, that are in your business, then I invite you to join me in the webinar. It's on, excuse me, you'll see the link below. And in that link, you can actually register and sign up for the webinar, and you'll just be part of the list. You'll get the information, you'll get the email.